Okay, welcome everyone. Good afternoon, welcome, and thank you for joining our panel discussion today on the B2B opportunity and the unique challenges that B2B merchants face. My name is Mark Brinton. I'm one of the product managers on the Magento digital commerce product, and I'll be the moderator for today's discussion. So just to set the tone here, we'll begin our discussion with a panel discussion featuring 3 different B2B merchants, each of them operating in different industries. As a part of the panel, we will reserve time near the end for questions. So as we proceed, please think of what questions you may like to ask this panel at the end. We will reserve time to do that. Following the Q&A session, we'll change to a small group format and allow you to have small group discussions at your tables. This will allow you to build on the panel topics that you've heard, share ideas with each other, and directly apply some of the insights that you've heard from the discussion. So with that, let's get started. Today's B2B merchants have tremendous opportunity, but also face unique challenges that are distinct from B2B merchants. Some of these challenges include scaling quickly to handle growth, delivering custom pricing to customer accounts, keeping pace with changing customer needs, and integrating multiple IT systems together to deliver a customer experience. Each of our panel merchants here today is facing and addressing these challenges on a day-to-day basis. So let's start with introductions. I'd like to ask each of you to just take a minute or so and give a brief introduction for our audience to let them know what industry you're operating in, what your company does, and also your role within the company. Okay, so Paul, maybe we'll start with you.
Yeah, no problem. Cheers. So our business it's a traditional business in terms of a pharmaceutical wholesaler. There's 2 now that operate in Ireland. There used to be about 6 operators, so a lot of consolidation in the marketplace. Very sort of low margin business. Like our own company turns over $1 billion per annum, but sort of razor thin margins around that. So the vision for the company is that we need to diversify. We need to move into different sort of verticals to sort of grow our sort of margin. And so we supply 1,800 pharmacies twice daily with prescription drugs. Obviously, the key opportunity we see now is moving into more consumer-focused goods. We're looking to build chains of pharmacies, and we're looking to expand into the UK as well. So we just bought an online prescription home delivery business. So lots of different challenges within that. We have a very sort of steady line in terms of selling, like to say, cancer or diabetes drugs. But it's now how do we give that sort of B2C feel and sell more skincare, aftershave, perfume. Mm-hmm. So that's our sort of key challenge in terms of to our customers.
Great. And your role day to day with this?
So my role is, it's probably selling the vision. So, it's trying to sort of take the key stakeholders internally and then obviously externally, like looking at what our pharmacists' needs are. So how do we marry the 2 up and actually deliver like a really sort of tangible solution?
Sure.
That earns us money and actually provides them with the solution at the end.
Great. Thank you. All right, Philip?
Yeah, my name is Philip Lüders. I'm Vice President of Zorro Tools Europe. We are based in Düsseldorf. And we're part of the Grainger Corporation, an US-based company that's in industrial supplies wholesale business. We internally, it's not known by everybody, call the assortment MRO, maintenance, repair, and operation supplies. And we are within Grainger part of the single-channel online business model. And that consists of, or actually are the third of a series of foundations. The first one in Japan 10 years ago, the second one in the US 3 years ago, and we've launched now in Germany 2 years ago. And so our task is to deliver what Grainger is delivering through a direct sales force model and a brick and mortar business in the US through a single channel online business model. And if we have the luck that we can look into the future, if we look to our Japanese colleagues, because they have been 10 years into business, and they've grown from virtually nothing to now $500 million turnover in euros and 2 million customers. We are not quite there yet, but these dimensions are our target, and we think that the market in Europe has capacity for us.
Great. Yeah. Thank you. All right, Mark.
Yes, Mark Selby from McFarlane Packaging. We are the UK's largest protective packaging distributor, ranging from protective solutions, typically for internet retailers, right through to pure retail packaging that you'd see in your high street shops. We've been on Magento since 2010, probably one of the earlier customers with Magento in the UK. And our customer base is primarily business to business. Resellers, as I say, internet retailers, probably like yourselves. We do have a small element of B2C, but that's primarily around sort of what we term as the home cottage industry, and people are maybe moving house or putting stuff in the attic and that sort of stuff.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, now let's dig in a little bit and just learn some more. Paul, maybe if we could start with you.
Yep.
What are some of the most immediate challenges you're facing in your role? Maybe to highlight one or two of those, and what are you doing to work to address those challenges in your business?
Yeah, so it's like we need to supply our pharmacists twice daily. We need to be able to present them with those products that they can easily find them. Like one of our key challenges, the mandate we have, is that it's how do we grow the number of orders on e-commerce and move to that sort of self-service model. It's really key for the business in terms of lowering the cost base. So it's all around our cost to serve the customer. Like, it's a huge piece of the business. So how can we grow our online orders and reduce the complexity of the business? So we're constantly looking at things now, like how do we provide that self-service? How can we really go back to the customer and say, we are providing you with self-service? So
what are some of the
statements?
Some of the features that the customers are asking you for that would enable that self-service experience?
It's quite a complex business. Like that, we have like regulatory requirements as well. So if we sell certain products like unlicensed medicines, we have to be able to ensure that we collect a lot of data pertaining to the sale of those products. In terms of self-service, like, can we offer them like at the click of a button to be able to pull down their invoices, statements, debits, credits, return products online? We have certain restrictions around products that we can't return online. Mm-hmm. So there's no just sort of like build a piece of software and say now every product we have we can return. There's lots of sort of stipulations around different sort of pieces of the business that we have to sort of do special configuration. And I suppose our development partners, we're heavily reliant on our development partners. We completely outsource the development of our platform. So we're very heavily reliant on Monsoon, and they've done a great job in terms of being able to understand our business and our requirements and to help us deliver those bespoke solutions, because it's a huge amount of customization to the platform for what we require for our customer base.
Yeah. And what's your approach to doing that? Are you just trying to incrementally add additional self-service features?
Yeah,
and
so
have a roadmap to do that?
Yeah, so we've built out a sort of comprehensive roadmap. So we've delivered phase 1 now, which is sort of basic self-service, but now we're sort of working internally with, say, our accounts receivable team, customer service teams and sales teams. Because at the moment, like a customer can place an order through telesales, they can place it through the rep, they can place it through their dispensary systems. So there's lots of different avenues for them still to go to. So it's really up to us now to sort of try and drive them to that one channel, because that's where we see the most benefits from.
Yeah. And you mentioned as well looking to expand from Ireland more to the UK. What obstacles do you see to doing that?
I don't think obviously there's the UK regulation, but again, like there's a great vision in terms of internally in the company as to where we see ourselves going in the UK. Probably a lot we can't share here today, but we have bought a home delivery prescription business. We've also bought another business which are actually on Magento. Yeah. They're on the Magento platform, so there's going to be a lot of consolidation there. So where we can see like sort of synergies for the business that we've already bought, bringing them all under one platform.
Yeah, thank you. Philip, it seems in your business you have more of a challenge perhaps of customer acquisition and letting people know of how to work with your company in this online self-service model. What are some of the challenges that you face in acquiring customers and serving what they're looking for?
Yeah, so I think for us, and maybe that's new to the B2B sector, it's really growth and time to market is a challenge in all regards. So organizational growth, but also technical growth, and also growth in the supply base. Because at least in Germany, the market really has started to move in our market 2 years ago, and there are a lot of players either digitizing their existing business model or coming with the same business model into the online market, and that's why growth and speed, time to market is very important. And if you break that down, it's managing a strongly growing number of products. That is key to success in our market. Have more products, and our target is to have 7-digit numbers of SKUs in our shop. Also, we're not quite there yet, but that's something an IT system and the shop system has to cope with, both from the back-end side, but also from the front-end side, how to deliver that to the customer when he's looking for something. It's also a data-driven topic. Mm-hmm. So that's from the assortment side, and also from the acquisition side. Yes, it's a challenge to acquire customers, but when you have the assortment, the revenue comes more or less or to some extent by itself, because if you have millions of products out there and millions of keywords out there that actually can convert on your website, and the customers will follow. But the difficulty is there getting the right customers. You don't want the wrong customers. They just clutter your customer base. You don't want them. And then the challenge is to make loyal customers out of that. Yeah. And that's more important than the B2C realm. In the B2B, you don't survive if you don't even try to get loyal customers, because that's, I think, one important aspect of the B2B market is that the customers, they actually want to be loyal. Yeah. But most of the shops, most of the wholesalers, retailers, they don't let the customers be loyal because they don't succeed in fulfilling their expectancies.
Mark, in the packaging industry, you probably have a lot of competitors there. How are you using the e-commerce platform and what you're doing on Magento to communicate clearly the value and the offering that you have to your customer base?
I think you're right. You know, there is a lot of competition. We're no different than any other organisation operation out there in terms of competitiveness, and it is difficult to come up with unique selling points which benefit you. But I think the one thing that we have managed to do is to, I suppose, try and put as much of a consumer base look and feel to the store as possible. The navigation, the ease of use, what people look for, how easy it is to find, how quick it is to actually operate is of essential importance to us and to our customers. We then sort of take it down to another level, because obviously in B2B, different to the B2C market is the pricing strategies. And obviously our customers want to see prices which are relevant to them depending on what they buy and how they buy and the volumes that they buy. So again, we put a very simple system in to be able to actually get our customers to be able to log in and actually change the look and feel of the pricing, and almost change the look and feel of some of the product ranges as well. So we strip out the products which aren't relevant to their industry sector and replace them with products that are relevant. And again, it is all about trying to do something differently online that they wouldn't typically get over traditional methods of buying over the phone or emailing an order through, or even, you know, the good old days of faxing. So it is trying again to just overall improve the customer experience from the moment they log in to the moment they actually process the order. The other thing that we've actually done is a rapid system. So we've actually introduced a system where they can actually log in and 3 clicks later they've actually processed the order and logged back out again. So again, our mindset was quicker than picking the phone up and processing the order over the phone.
So you've been able to reduce that entire checkout process to 3 clicks?
3-click system. And again, you know, because we don't ask them questions we already know the answer to, we've taken your loyalty point. You know, if we know the customers, they're returning visitors, we already know how they're paying for the order, where they typically want it delivering to. We know the products that they typically buy from us, so we preload those into a checkout, and they can quite easily just repeat a previous order, modify the quantities, hit the checkout, and get a thank you message back to the screen.
Okay. And what's the customer feedback been in response to this system?
I think there's always areas of continuous improvement. We get great customer feedback. I think the feedback typically comes from the volume of people that actually use it. You don't get the same sort of feedback as you probably do, say, on a consumer store. Yes, we are on Trustpilot and we're out and about the same as everybody else on social media, but I think most of the feedback comes from repeat orders. You know, if you do it right, they'll come back and they'll do it again. If you get it wrong, you'll never see them again.
Yeah. And you see it in the figures?
You see it in the figures. You know, one of the things that we wanted to do, the reason we embarked on the online journey was to actually be visible to more individuals. You know, we had a fixed external sales force, but we knew that the internet retail market would grow and grow, and to actually get in front of that marketplace, we really had to do it online, and we had to be up there and visible online, and it was really a case of, you know, that was our target market. And as I say, that's obviously where we wanted to see the sales improvement and the volume of customers.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, well, maybe let's switch now and we'll take some roundtable questions, so any of you can just jump in and answer if you'd like. In B2B as well as in B2C, there's so many different metrics and things that you can look at. So how do you make sense of all the data that you have? What are some of the top metrics you focus on to run and improve your business?
I'll take that because we're at a very sort of embryonic stage. So I suppose we've moved from a platform that basically gave us no data. Mm-hmm. So the customer went into this black hole, there was nothing there. So we were always sort of challenged. I'm only with the business about 15 months, so I was sitting there going, so the first was like, so what do they do? You know, where do we, you know, how long have they been on? What are they buying? And it's like, we don't know. So it's like, Jesus, like, it's pretty frustrating. So I suppose now we're at that, like even just 1 month, like I'm able to see even just purely using the likes of say Google Analytics, the customer's now spending an average of 35 to 40% less time per login. So you think, we were chatting about this the other day and the commercial director was saying, but surely that's a bad thing. And I was going, well, we're processing the same amount of orders, the same order value. And so to me, I think it's actually a good metric because it looks like we're facilitating them now to find a product to get in just what you alluded to there.
Yeah, to be more efficient, right? Yeah. And so before you rolled out the Magento build, you didn't have the capability to track this?
No, and that was one of the major reasons about like we needed to move to a platform. So we're actually now looking to sort of implement a full sort of back-end system now where we're going to literally track path to purchase, like from the point of email right through. Mm-hmm. You know, but even now, like the level of data that we have now versus what we had even a month ago is.
Yeah. I can only say the longer a good management team is collaborating in a business, the longer the list of KPIs get. And at the end, you have probably 150 KPIs you should be monitoring. And you, if you're a good management team, you have that KPI sheet, and the challenge is to get that data together and on a pragmatic level without always asking for a complete data warehouse and everything. And I think we are at the moment at 30 or 40 KPIs we're regularly looking at, and of course, I mean, all from logistics and customer acquisition and all that stuff. And I think the very important thing is that you always change the angle from what you're looking at on whatever you're looking at. Yeah, you need to look from a channel perspective, customer perspective, supplier perspective, portfolio perspective, and I think there are even more, maybe price group perspective, to understand really what's going on, if sales are going up or sales are going down, and the more you want to focus on one topic, you can see, okay, there are maybe 10 sub-dimensions I need to analyze to really understand where revenue is coming from or where bad GP is coming from or whatever. But I mean, the one and finally KPI that is really important to our business is customer value, and that's what I was saying before is you need to focus to acquire the customers that have value. So if I'm in sales, if I would only be incentivized by sales volume, that would be easy. Slash down prices, sell power tools and garden tools. Mm-hmm. But those customers, they just don't repeat. Yeah, and so they might buy once, but we want customers that buy 10 times and 100 times. And so we need to identify those customers and keep that, define a KPI that measures those customers and bring that KPI up. That's the core of our KPI strategy.
Moving on, so there's been a lot of talk in the industry, as I'm sure you're aware, about the consumerization of B2B. and trying to match what customers expect in B2C experiences on B2B sites. What are some of the concrete actions you've taken to make a more of a B2C experience for your customers?
Well, I think we shouldn't forget that the B2B user on a Monday morning was the B2C user on a Sunday afternoon, you know, buying trainers or whatever the product may be. So there is no real differential from the audience perspective, you know, B2B, B2C. And therefore, what we've tried to do as is to replicate some of that buying experience from B2C into B2B, including, as I mentioned earlier, such things as Trustpilot. You know, you would expect, you know, whether you're going on TripAdvisor or you're going on that, you would expect to rate the quality of the supply from the particular vendor, and we've replicated that with our customers. So we've picked up that side of things, but again, it's just access to imagery. You know, we sell products. Not all of our products are particularly exciting and sexy. Some of them are typical cardboard boxes. How on earth you make a cardboard box look exciting, you know, is beyond me. But we've managed it to some degree, because what we do is we've taken some of the formats from the B2C and we've done in situ shots. So we don't just show you an empty cardboard box. We've actually filled it with, you know, for example, these are the sort of products that would fit in this particular size and dimension. So there's a lot more information that's going into the product shots, so that our audience, so that the business buyers can actually say, well, I sell a product similar to this particular product, and therefore this particular package, you know, would it be able to, I could simulate that to actually send, you know, my parcels and my products out to.
I suppose similar to Mark, like a lot of our pharmaceutical products, they're not exactly sexy products and sexy images and stuff like that, but I suppose our challenge is to grow our consumer business, and that's where, so we actually launched a pre-order Christmas catalogue, so we're now inviting pharmacists to order their Christmas products that they're going to sell to consumers, obviously, say from the middle of October onwards. So it's in that sense, we literally went from a perspective of, yeah, it's probably ordering by case, but in terms of a consumer experience, if anybody in this room logged on, it looks completely like a B2C experience. Strong banner, call to action, strong visuals, you know, straight to checkout, pre-order. And then from a business perspective, what that affords us to do, it's actually a forecasting tool. So when they're actually forecasting our business requirements for that period, we go back to our manufacturers. We're not going to end up with £500,000 worth of stock floating around the warehouse come Jan.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, one part of our business model is, opposed to your business models, is a single price strategy. So we don't offer rebates, or we don't offer customer-specific rebates. And I think that's where a lot of longer tail, or even B2B businesses will be going, because that's what online is about, price transparency in the first place. Hopefully not in the long run, but it starts with a lot of price transparency, and that's why we say we meet the customer exactly there, which also means that we cannot have best price everywhere, because that would mean a downward spiral to the end. That's one thing, and I think the other thing where B2B can learn a lot from the B2C is the campaign management. Both omni-channel campaign management on the website, but also in email marketing. If I look to, obviously everybody has subscribed to their competitors' newsletters, and if you look at it, it's rather dull. One email campaign to the whole customer audience with the same message, and on Easter it's about Easter, and Christmas it's about Christmas. And from very big B2C online brands, we are used better than that, and we can give that to our B2B customers too, because I can only stress that a B2B customer is also a person, and they want to be maybe not excited, but they want to be understood.
Offers and promotions are still relevant to the B2B market, and we do that. We try and make them slightly exciting. You know, we don't always get it right, but it is a case of, you know, as I say, trying to put offers, discounts, promotions, Euro 2016 wall charts, or whatever the case may be, with orders, and trying to put a bit of fun into your day job of buying your products.
Thank you. So Philip, you described that you're trying to operate in a model without a sales force, so maybe this question is more for Paul and Mark. But if you have a sales force, how do you see the interaction between what they're doing in reaching customers and the website? How do those work together?
Yeah, well, I suppose we're looking to make a shift in terms of what we see our sales team doing and making them become more business development and advocates of certain products. And we have a lot of manufacturers that put a lot of products into pharmacies, so there's a lot of detailed selling that needs to go on there. So traditionally that sort of stereotypical role of the salesperson being he gets the order. Yeah. You're saying, well, look, well, e-commerce can handle the order, and then you can spend that valuable time in the pharmacy detailing products, so becoming a more product specialist type role. So that's a huge piece that we're looking to transition to.
And you're absolutely right. We have a saying which is, order makers, not order takers, and that's what the sales force is out there to do, is to talk to new customers, to interest them in new products that are coming to the market, etc., etc. It's not necessarily just to go in there and take the weekly order. And the world changes. The people that are now the buyers of the products, time is precious. They don't want the guy stood on the doorstep, with his order pad. They want to order online. They want to order at a time that's convenient to them. A lot of our orders are done during the night because they're doing stock replenishment programs, when it's not so busy, and it's right and proper. They can do it when it's convenient for them and not convenient for us.
But it is a culture change, for the sales
It is,
team.
it's always a risk, because when you first put it out there, then it's seen as a threat to the day job, and I think. When you can convince people that actually, do you see all these orders I took over the weekend when you were, watching the football or doing this, and it's all gone into your sales numbers, suddenly they get it and they start to they start to embrace it a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you. So maybe one last question before we transition to allowing you to ask some questions to our panel. Most of the room that we have here are practitioners, so they're doing the same things that you're doing. What would you give to them in a sentence or two, if you could give them a top takeaway, something you've learned, key to success? What would you want to share with the audience?
I actually just came from a talk next door, and I'm going to steal what the guy said there, actually. Because it's very relevant to where we are in the journey. Yeah. And I think it starts small, and get everything, get your strategy right, and then scale quickly. And that's what we intend to do over the next 12 months. So we're very much like we don't even know what the customer's doing from A to Z at the moment, but we will do in the next 2 months, and then it's to segment that audience. And I suppose what you were saying, Philip, it's not about sending out Christmas emails to every customer.
I would say if you talk about the B2B business, I think we've just understood that it has similarities to the B2C business, but I think it's much more important to actually listen to your customers much more. And maybe for you too, it's not so something special because you have a sales force. You have actually people, you are talking with the customer and they are listening, and what a good salesperson is, they have larger ears than a mouth. And the same goes if you have only an online channel. You should stop selling to the customer. You should really start to understand what the customer is about. And that's by surveys, by calling the customers too, but also looking at the data. And that, I know, it's a commonplace thing, but there's really so much in there, and it doesn't need big data. It needs an Excel spreadsheet and look at the transactions. And again, by customer, by supplier, by channel, understand where's the demand and why, and then try to give the customer the feeling that they are understood. Because I think, again, they don't come to us because of the price. We don't want them to come to us because of the price, because we want them to come because they feel understood.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's, I don't think there is any one particular golden nugget. If there was, then I'd like to know what it was myself. But I think, you could do worse than listen to your customer and, understand the customer experience, because they will vote volumes in terms of, what they like and what they dislike. And you can do a lot of things which you believe is right and you believe will be engaging, but, it only takes you to ask your customers what they think, and you'll soon get the hang of, as I say, what exactly is working and what generates the loyalty. It's relatively simple. You know, if you do it right and you're relatively consistent with your offering, you know, people will come back.
Thank you. Well, there's many more questions that I could ask, but I'd like to give each of you the opportunity to take a couple questions from the room, from the tables here. I believe we have 2 handheld microphones. So if you have a question you'd like to ask our panelists, go ahead and raise your hand and we'll get one over to you. Yeah, up here. Yeah.
Google have this for Teddy. Choke it out.
Sorry, I'm just wondering what your positions are on your delivery strategy and pricing in the B2B market. We find that we get a lot of telephone orders. We are probably similar to Mark's business, a little bit specialist. We have our own sales force. We don't get many online transactions, and we want to improve that, and be interesting to find out what your views are on Trustpilot, because it's another cost that we have to bear. But delivery strategy, we supply goods all over the UK. Have you got any answers to that?
Yeah, we again have followed probably a typical sort of B2C route, dependent on the value of your spend, depends on whether you get free delivery or not. And we have tiered delivery structures. You can have a next day delivery, which is premium. You can have a 3-day delivery, which is standard. And then for certain customers, we term as our VIP customers, regardless of how much you spend, you will get free delivery. And that's driven by the back-end systems. It will automatically work out what the delivery charges are, and we'll hold that information in Magento. So, you know, we all people are equal. So some are certainly more equal than others, but we've adopted, as I say, very much a B2C culture when it comes to you know, charging for deliveries.
I had a question about cross-border trade B2B. It might be more for Philip, but for the other guys as well, whether you'd seen a pattern in Germany, first of all, in terms of B2B, or if it's behaving differently over there. And the other guys, if you're doing any exporting B2B, whether that's come up yet.
What do you mean by pattern in Germany?
Well, there tends to be, in the B2C world, there tends to be different behaviours between the UK and Germany, between Germany and France, etc. So I'm wondering whether the B2B consumer in Germany is open to B2B commerce as much as the UK.
So that customers, B2B customers from France would order from a company in Germany?
Or a German customer is open to buying from a German supplier B2B. Because, you know, like when Germans book holidays, it's quite different to the way the UK people book holidays. So I was just wondering if, even within Germany, whether the average German person is happy to buy commerce online from their supplier.
I don't know if I got the question right, but if you mean how the e-commerce maturity of each country?
The B2B commerce maturity in Germany.
Oh, okay.
It's
very high, very high. And as I said, I think since 2 years the market has really shifted a lot, and it also, as I said, listen to the customer. It depends highly on the segment, and then the segments have very different supply models. Sometimes we have a strong incumbent in a electrical installation segment, for instance. They have very strong delivery promises, ordered at 8, delivered at 2, which we can't fulfill. But in general, in Germany, the wish to order online is strong, and it's also a generation thing. If we have actually asked 2,000 craftsmen if they would change their supplier and are willing to order online, and I don't know if it's good or bad. It's a third that said we would consider to buy online, and I think it's big, because definitely not a third is already ordering online. So the short-term chance is high, but even if this third is growing, every time a small craftsman is changing its generation, the new one is coming, they definitely will order online, and so it's a huge chance.
Yeah, let's hit one down in front here as well.
Sorry, while he's coming up to get
Yeah.
the mic, can I ask
Go ahead.
question? I'm 6 weeks into a B2B marketing and e-commerce role, so I have about 1 million questions for you. The first question, however, is, as I say, 6 weeks into the role, I picked up a Magento Enterprise version 1 e-commerce site. Has a UK site, has an Ireland site, and an EU site that tries to deal with everywhere, including Africa, through that one site. But the level of customization that they've put that thing through, the ERP system is dictating pretty much everything through there. They've kind of bastardized, maybe the word, the Magento system. So there is no data in there that I can really play with. And obviously with now the introduction of Magento 2, there's a lot of things that they did through heavy customization, which I understand is now coming out with Magento 2, but it literally is like it's a car crash within there. Are you guys looking at or currently reviewing moving and migrating over to Magento 2? How are you guys looking at that going forwards?
I want to do that one.
Take that,
Yeah,
That makes sense. We actually, it's quite relevant to our business. Like we had a lot of customization on our, we've 2,000 customers, but there's 3 levels of contract pricing, 3 levels of rebate. There's a lot of data, and then our SAP. So SAP drives everything we do. So you're faced with that decision. Like, do you start sort of having all of this data in Magento and in SAP, and they don't talk to each other? So we made a decision to sort of exploit our ERP system. So we've taken a lot. So we take nightly dumps for our customers. We take hourly snapshots of inventory, nightly pricing. But it works the data is there for us to take out and for us to use. So I don't see it as so much as a huge challenge for us. It is.
Magento, are you looking at Magento 2 on the horizon?
Yeah, we are. But I suppose we'll be looking at it with with a view to sort of with our development partners to say is this something we should do? We're obviously building chains of pharmacies as well, so we potentially have a B2C roadmap down the line, and we would probably look to go with Magento 2 for the B2C, and then sort of take those learnings. With the learnings we've had in 4 weeks just purely with Magento 1 versus our legacy platform. Now we're figuring out, we probably could have done pricing this way and have live pricing. So our sort of where we're looking at now is Magento 1 for B2B. Now let's go back and revisit live stock and live pricing. Magento 2 potentially for our B2C, and then look to how that would evolve, because Magento 2 was pretty embryonic as well, so you wouldn't want to be making rash decisions there. That'd be my view.
We've done the same. I think when we started out, we effectively drew 3 circles, and we said the ERP system is responsible for this data, our CRM system is responsible for that data, and Magento is responsible for no data. So in essence, we push information into the systems. Really, the only thing that's held by the Magento platform is our content, product descriptions and images, and everything else is fed, either real time or over an overnight load. Modifications, and take your terminology, we've done the same, but we've done it in such a way that that's just became the 4th circle that we bolted in, so that if we needed to do a base upgrade, then we upgrade the base, and we at worst we rewrite some of the coding to actually make the integrations rework.
Well, that's one more before someone jumps in again. Sorry, no, you go, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I have 2 questions in one. It's all about omnichannel, sorry. As omnichannel is, emerging trend in e-commerce, as from my experience, it's great in B2B. As one colleague said, a lot of customers doing transactions via call center and so on. So my question, two questions. First question is, which features, omni-channel features, do you consider most valuable for your business? And the second one, how you deal with them, because they often require a lot of integrations, tight integration between CRM and e-commerce and so on. So two questions in one.
Can you take it?
I would say the key feature for omnichannel is that the customer doesn't notice actually that it's happening. That you have a consolidated data infrastructure where anywhere the customer is coming to, and we are lucky we don't have brick and mortar business. I think that's very difficult to bring that into the storefront, and that's already a challenge in itself. So we are not there yet, that the customer gets the same proposition anywhere he is, in whatever touch point, be it on the shop, in the email system, printed, or if he calls in the customer base. But that's what we are actually trying to do.
You have all this data, this 360 degree view of customer in Magento or in CRM?
No, not in Magento. And I was advised that Magento is not very good to be a CRM system. We are, by the way, only using Magento since 2 months, so we are very young. And I appreciate all the all the recommendations with regards to individual customization.
Again, I think you're right in terms of making the customer experience irrelevant in terms of the channel. A guy can place an order over the phone. Within 2 minutes, his order is visible online. Should he then want to go log in and see what orders he's placed today? If he wants to repeat it online, he can repeat it online. If he wants to have a look and see how much he's spent with us, he can do that online. If he then wants to phone a rep and get the rep to go in, the reps are all out there with iPads. They can place orders electronically as well, which will integrate. We've got integrated computer-to-computer functionality, punch-out systems and all that, which all integrate with Magento. So again, really doesn't matter, operationally and operational effectiveness, it matters to me how people place their orders, but I can't govern that, the guy who places his order online today won't ring it through tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Probably have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions.
Another one.
Yeah.
Can you be both B2B and B2C? The reason I'm asking this question, the business that I've come into is a 70-year-old family-owned business, and decorative lighting has always supplied through the independent retailers, the high street stores, the mum and pop shops, that we're now starting to find that the second generations aren't so keen and interested in taking the business forward. We are seeing growth areas with online retailers, but it's not anywhere near the level that it could be. And we're getting pressure from the board to introduce B2C in other markets, and it's a question that scares the heck out of me, because I don't see how you can be within the same market, under the same brand, as the same business, how you could be both without, cutting your nose off, sort of thing. What's your take on being both B2B and B2C under that same entity?
Yeah, I'd be quite dubious about that. Like when I allude to sort of our B2C sort of strategy, so if you will, so we're a pharmacy wholesaler. We're supplying drugs, front of shop, consumer products into pharmacies. We're also looking to copper fasten our market share, so we're trying to align pharmacy groups to our business. So if they sign up to a branded franchise that we're creating, then we're saying we potentially could offer a B2C through that branded channel. So it's not as if we as a wholesaler are looking to sell to pharmacists and then go as a wholesaler and sell to, it needs to be a brand that's going to resonate with the consumer, I would first of all say. That's the key challenge. Be it Christmas lights, be it whatever, it's got to have some relevance to the consumer. And if you don't have that, to build it, like we have bricks and mortar businesses, like we've 200 pharmacies that have aligned to our franchises. So, there's a marketing spend there. Like we have a chain of pharmacies called Life Pharmacy. They're going to spend $1 million on building a brand, over the next 12 months. So, it's not as if we're, it makes sense in that way. But I'd be dubious, like yourself, yeah.
I'm just going through the same thing. We are actually selling B2B, B2C at the moment under one brand. I'm actually writing a paper at the moment to look at sub-branding, still maintaining the presence that we are. We're not hiding the fact that we're McFarlane's, but again, the one thing that we are experiencing is maybe that we need to differentiate between the consumer and the consumer offers and the consumer experience and that of the more professional business buyer. So again, that, as I say, that's something that we're trying to work through as we speak. But I suppose the other bit you need to answer is the buying experience will be different as well, and the service will be different, because obviously you'll find that the business buyer will be happy to buy packs of, pallets of, etc. The consumer buyer is going to be wanting buying in ones and twos, and it's whether you have the infrastructure to be able to support that.
Okay, just before we switch to discussions at your tables, please just join me in saying thank you to our panel for being here today.